Good evening and welcome back to Timberborn, here with our Folktails on update 5, and our water isn't doing all that fantastic. It's pumping dry because the reservoir here isn't actually pumping enough water out because the mills are not giving enough power to these at all. But that's fine because we will eventually have these here doing this. Now I've completely 100% messed this whole thing up. Utterly messed it up, completely and utterly ruined it. I was trying to figure out this whole end piece here with bits going on the end of it and changing bits and doing bits, and I realised that we have a gap here anyway. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 for one of them, another one there, another one there, another one there. We still got run power, can't run power into the end of it anyway. So yeah, all that effort, doing all the bits and pieces and moving the water and that, and we still can't run power into it anyway. So yeah. So this line here is kind of redundant. I'm probably going to just get rid of it and then connect power to the end of this side anyway, because we're going to run our batteries. Batteries are going to be up here at this height here. So that's the idea. However, a bad tide is coming. So we can test whether the reservoir works. Basically, the bad tide will come in here, will pour in here. These will pump the good water out. These will pump the bad water out. They say would if they were running, if they were connected, if they had power. We could do that, but we can find out whether it does the job, or it does the job we want it to do. So yeah, it's not ready. It's not built over here. These pumps are not done here. They are all set to bad water, so they're ready to go. But they're low priority. So we will see if this works. We will find out how this goes and how it does and how it works, and we'll figure it out. I have changed some other things as well. And that is that we have more builders. Look at this, more builders. I've changed all these buildings back to being normal beavers, with the exception of building bots. That's still on. Still building bots. Everything else is being run by normal beavers. And yeah, because I wanted this to get built, and realistically, I needed bots to do it. Because if I'd put in normal builders with beavers in, they would walk down here and get contaminated. Bots do not have that. Bots do not care about contaminated fluid. They don't worry about it at all. So we don't have to worry about that. It's also interesting that you can see the flow of the water. It's not flowing very well in this corner over here, but it's flowing here and around and come back in. So so yes, it's definitely running more powerful here going on there. So maybe instead of the center one going to 2, I should have put this one on this end here going to 2 to try and balance it better, but it doesn't matter. We'll leave it for the minute. So yeah, the bots don't care about contaminated water. They have no issue with it at all, so they can continue to come down here and build down here. A lot of people saying remove the stairs over here so builders don't get injured. We're only using bots for builders, so we're not going to get any injured beavers or contaminated beavers. Getting injured beavers because they're now obviously doing injury work and stuff like that. So, but what should happen is this is filling with bad water, but these are pumping and should continue to pump the good water out of this reservoir until they run out, and then there'll be no more water. But that's fine because there's no more water anyway. So that's not going to be a major issue there. There'll be no water anyway, so it gives us a bit more, and then we're going to have pumps this side as well, which will pump water out and be pouring down here. So yeah, so this is kind of the plan. Everything is working, everything is fine. What surprised me is this building here. I did not think you could build this building from this edge, but you can. So running this path in the center here has allowed me to build these, which means I can build all of these here, which is fantastic. I don't know how I'm going to build these here. I might have to put some platforms in to build those ones there, but we'll figure that one out later. So yeah, we'll figure that one out later. That'd be fine. So yeah, and all these are getting power from these shared through the center here anyway. So this is all good. I think looking at this, I should have moved it over by one more. But I didn't, so it's fine. So then we could just get power in the end as well, but it's fine. It's fine as it is. It's working. it's doing the job. This will get contaminated, but you are still pumping out good water. So we still have water pumping here, and because the water's pumping here, we still got this here. We've got dirt coming in here, which is fine. None of these are built because obviously they don't have any gears. We have built 4 additional gear workshops. They're in here now. But I didn't flip them, which I should have done, but I'm not going to go back and do that. I don't care about it right now. So it looks a bit weird, but it's fine. It's fine. So, but what I mainly was concerned about was this going to work? And it looks as if it is going to work, at least for the time being. These do not give a percentage of how well they're running, so it doesn't really tell me whether it's all contaminated yet or not. But I think it's going to be a while for it will all get contaminated. So yeah, and they are filling in the floor down there. Yeah, everything is awesome. Everything is wonderful. Everything is cool. The Beavers are working as a team. Yay. So, thank you all very much for the comments on the last video. Luke Robinson, hope the reservoir is done for the next episode. It's kind of half-ish done, but I've got it working. I've got it working. It's very much a fully operational battle reservoir that is pumping. I could turn these on as well, and we could pump the bad tide out of here, but it's kind of pouring out over here right now. So yeah, but I can't. I was hoping to connect it to the network down here to get the power from these, but I messed that up. I messed it up completely. We cannot connect this here. We can't reach it to connect it anyway, but it doesn't actually connect power-wise to the end there. I really wish it did, but it doesn't, and we can't get power onto the end anyway at all. So yeah, so the power's not going to work here. I'll probably get rid of this power line, if I'm honest, to here. We'll have the connection along here, but I'll probably get rid of the power line. So then this power line can come all the way along here, all the way along the edge of the river, and can connect to the houses at a couple of points, and also run down here. Should we want to do any food or anything? I'm not quite sure. Obviously, we're going to make this farmland. We're going to flatten it all down and do bits and pieces, but it's a way off yet. Yeah. So we're getting there. I'm not trying to drag it out. It's just that it's I wanted to test whether the bad tide it works with the bad tide, and it works as expected for the minute. Yeah. Okay. So those 3 have stopped working because they got no more water. So these are still working because they have water. So yeah. So it's only pumping out the bad. And if we did this here, we'd pump out the bad tide here. And the idea between these, it's another question I got from Alexa, of why I did explain it last episode as well, and you mentioned that I passed it that we have the ones in the center. If I was to just leave this with just the good ones on the outside, then the good tide would come and it would mix slowly over time, but we would always have a concentration of bad tide in here. So by having the bad tide pumps as well, we can get rid of the bad tide. So during the bad tide now, these pumps are filtering out all the good water, and we'll use the rest of the good water out, and it will just be bad tide. And then during the good tide, instead of we having to wait for it to mix, we can dump the bad tide out and get rid of that. So we are always taking from the reservoir and getting rid of the good and using it, and getting rid of the bad and getting rid of it. So the overflow is purely just to overflow if stuff goes wrong, which, you know, if something is if the pumps are not pumping enough, then that's just what that's for. So yeah. Mr. Morkey mentioned about getting rid of the stairs here, so we obviously don't get contaminated beavers. Don't worry about it. Also mentioned about the heights for the batteries. Yes, I'm going to put them up this height here. So we're going to have a battery. What the hell was? Oh, that's because we're putting in. Yeah, we're putting under. Hang on a minute, it's pouring through the walls. We're going to have the batteries up at this height here. So I'm going to put in the platforms, and we're going to platform up all the way up to there. So there, and we're going to put the batteries at this height, so they connect to the ends of these mechanical pumps naturally. I'm not going to do it now. I don't do it now. But yeah, they connect to the end of these pumps just naturally anyway. and then they can transfer power between the pumps, and we can also connect them to the end of the windmills as well quite easily. But yeah, they'll be up at this height here, so instead of just having the 14,000 power stored here, they're going to have 3 times as much power per battery stored here, and they will not only just be in this section, they will also creep right out to this section over here. So all the batteries are going to be in this section between this path and this path. This is all going to be batteries in here, up at this height, this height right here. And then from here onwards, we're going to have some pumps in here, so they can pump out this water here, which would be good water, which would be these pumps. These pumps are going to be relocated to in here, so they're pumping all year round. And then at the end here, we're going to put a dam in, so that when these pump out the water, it doesn't lower the water level in here for our lidos and things to stop working. So they will stop working, they will continue to work there, and that'll be absolutely fine. We may also have to do something about trying to keep this river full here, because I should have made it 3 wide. 3 wide would have worked better, because it would hold the water so much longer than the 2 wide one. But we could also choose to come in here. It would be a little bit of an effort, because we'd have to come in and find where where is it? Yeah, we'd have to come in and remove these. We can just open this and let the water flow, so it all becomes one, like this channel along here, and this becomes one. Not doing it now because we're pumping out of this area, but we could do that and open it up, so this has got a much larger area to evaporate from, although that would make the pool have even more of an edge, so might be a double whammy. The only other alternative I have is to go along the back and make it 3 wide, or destroy the whole paths at the front, which would make many of our beavers homeless, bomb the whole front out, redo it and seal it off here to make it 3 wide, which I am not opposed to doing, because a 3 wide trench would make life probably better for us overall. So yeah, so we'll see with that one. We'll see how that goes there. Let me speed up time. I don't know why it's running slow. You are getting some bad water be pushed over the edge. I think that's yeah, which is fine. It's just splashing. It's fine. So yeah, it is getting a little bit as it's splashing. So, but that's okay. I don't think that's going to affect us at all. That's going to mix quite well in here anyway. So I don't think we've got to worry about that. Hatman, you mentioned about fully. You got the. I'm sure all of you got the fully armed and operational battle reservoir. I'm sure you all got that reference. The terror of rebel beavers everywhere. Yes. And you said about you're starting to work on something like this. Awesome. Big projects are fun. What I like the most about them is when, like now, they are working. They are doing exactly what I expect them to do, with the exception of the overflow, because we're filling the land up. But they are. It works. So I can now, once this has got the pumps in doing its thing, and we connect it to the main power grid, because that's something to do, I can walk away and I'm confident the game will not kill my beavers. I'm confident that the bad tide will not wreck everything, will not kill my beavers, will not cause problems. Yeah. And it's that level of accomplishment that I like the most. The fact that it's I mean, it's a big project. We've got it working, and but it's nice to be able to be like, this is what I set out to do. I set out to do automation within the game with no mods, the base game, and accomplish being able to leave it automated, still get water all year round. I can walk away from the game, and I could come back in 4 or 5 hours, and the game should still be fine, even with all these dangers. So, to me, that's an accomplishment. This is not even halfway there yet, but it is enough, I feel, especially playing on normal. I feel like right now, it's enough that we're not going to run out of water anytime soon. Nothing's going to go terribly wrong. This overflow thing here is a temporary thing until we fill up the floor here. It's going to happen for a while, but yeah, and I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's it's nice. It's a nice feeling. Mr. Stone, basically learn turning off. Yes, turn the sky fog off makes the game look so much better. I showed it last episode. Sky fog just makes it all washed out to me. So yeah, yeah, I wish I could change it off by default, but Zuigi saying about the stairs there having contaminated beavers. No contaminated beavers because they're all bots. So bots don't mind. Bots don't care about the contamination. They're fine with it. They're absolutely fine with it. So that's right about it. Talking about the windmills, I think I got myself confused, or what I was thinking and what I was saying may have been two different things. When I was talking about the elevation should change the windmill height, and I remember talking about how they do 300, and that I said should be at the highest height, and then it should go down as you lower it down. I still meant that you have the gust of winds. You still have the wind blow, so sometimes it would slow down, sometimes it would speed up, and it would change there. But maybe it should be instead. The map is, I believe, 32 high, might be 30 high. So the lowest to the highest point you can build is like 30 tiles, I think. Not actually tested, but I think it's 30 or 32. So if it's 30, then at 15 level, the base speed for a windmill should be the 100% speed. It should be 300 times by whatever the wind strength is. So if the wind strength is half, then it should be 300 half, so you get 150 horsepower out of them, or harness power out of them, sorry. So that makes sense. But if you put windmills down lower, they should have a lower bonus. So you say you drop it by, I don't know, even something simple like 1%. So if you put a windmill right down here at the base level, it would lose, it's instead of 300 horsepower, it would be 15% lower, and then times whatever the wind is. But if you put them up higher, you would gain a bonus. And I'm only talking a small bonus, like I said, 1% per block or something like that, so you get 15% at the most. But it would give you incentive to put your windmills up high, which is kind of how they do it in real life. They put windmills up high, or they put windmills out. Wind turbines, sorry, I'm saying windmills, I mean wind turbines. Large flat areas where the wind can blow, or up high, because the higher you go, the stronger the wind becomes. It's just a natural phenomenon. The game isn't going to model the game isn't going to model actual wind speed. The only way you could possibly do that, and a cheap way of doing it, would be pick a direction of wind and just check whether 5 tiles is free between the windmill and the wind. And then, but that's not needed. That's not needed. What I meant by the height is that it should give you a bonus to the base speed, but it should still be dependent on the strength of the wind, which changes rapidly. I do kind of wish that they'd go back to the previous version, where when these windmills stopped, the large windmills still span. Like they had, like, even when the wind stopped, they still had a spin, so you still get some power from them, and they just go up higher. Whereas now the wind stops completely. So I kind of wish they'd go back to the large windmills always having some tick over of power. But that's what batteries are for. I think that when I'm thinking of the large windmills used to always work all season round, and the small windmills used to stop depending on the wind speed. Obviously these were still affected by wind speed, but it was they never stopped. That was before batteries were a thing. So now you have batteries, you don't need it. The idea is that the wind turbines would charge your batteries, and then you use the batteries. Yeah. Sorry, I'm completely off topic, waffling, losing the plot. So also, as you mentioned about these wind turbines are not going to run these up here. We are going to connect it into the main grid. I was going to do it over here. But I messed it up. I messed it up there. So yeah. Why do you not have any power? Why do you not have any power? You should have power. Speaking of connecting, yeah, you are connected there. You are connected there. It is connected. Why did you say you didn't have any power? How bizarre. How very bizarre. Okay. Yeah. Let's turn these all on. Get them pumping out some bad. Might as well. They're not going to do anything. It's not going to. But yeah. So yeah. So Yeah, so we are going to hit them all. We're going to have the batteries up here, as I said, and it is all going to be connected to the power, and the batteries will be connected to these water wheels and these windmills. They're just to supplement our power. So, yeah. Also, we've been talking about how the terraformers have changed, so they're no longer there, and builders are now the ones that place blocks. And I was talking about how it would be nice to have a setting in the builders' huts or the town district centre. Or maybe just in builders' huts. The district centre can just be ignored, but the just the builders' huts, like the farm, you get to pick whether they do building, rubble collection, or terraforming. Zuigi, you're talking about having a much more, not complicated, but more in-depth system where you can choose like the order of buildings that are made. The Settlers 2 in particular, I remember, had it had like a snake system. It's a window with all the items in the game, and you could move the items up and down and round, and basically when a settler come along and saw an item at a flag, it would pick whatever was highest on the priority and go. That could work for Timberborn, but I feel it would need to be settings. It wouldn't be like you click a building and bring it up there. It would have to be like you go into the settings to a map, maybe a district centre, and you get a new window like this. Add it to this window here, like priority window. That would work. So it's per save. So these are all the items in the game. We don't want to prioritize those. That's not the important thing there. Although it would be nice to change the priority of those to the haulers. So you could say, hey, haulers, would you make sure you come and pick up treaty planks for something else? That would be a nice thing to be able to change that. But also you could have another tab here which would change what the buildings go. So like it would go if you put down I think I'm this is not quite what you said here, but like if you put down like a pump and a tank, you could move the tank above the pump in the priorities, and then the builders would automatically go, they're the same priority building, you know, like over here. So they're like a platform and a high power shaft. They're the same priority. They're both the lowest priority. So which one in this list of all the buildings in the game is the higher one? Oh, the platform's the higher one? I will make sure I build all the platforms I can find first. Then when there's no more platforms, we will come and build power shafts because you've changed the priority thing. So that could be nice to have. I feel like that's a little too much for general players of Timberborn. Timberborn doesn't seem to be that much of a complicated game, but it would be nice to have, and it's something that people could play with if they wanted to. But the default settings should just be like nothing's a higher priority, everything's the same. So instead of having a list that you move up and down, so like you put a pump above a tank, you would just have like large water pump, and it would have the 5 settings by default. So when you put a pump down or put that building down or whatever pump, it would just default to having that. But let me click on the release. Sorry, it would default to having that construction site level. That might work. I think I don't feel like Timberborn needs that. I just feel something simple like this builder's hut. So these 4 builders in this hut prioritize picking up rubble. If there is no rubble, they do something else. So I feel that would be a simpler way of getting it working. But I'm all for having more options. I like having more options. I get that, and I do also get that I'm probably not understanding completely what you're saying in the comments, but I hope you know what I'm saying. That it's we can meet halfway on that one. So, but anyway, we need to build more. So I'm going to let the game run. I'm going to stop the recording here. I'm not going to quite end this episode here. We've still got a couple of minutes left. We can do the episode, but those couple of minutes are going to be in however many hours I leave the game running. I think I'm going to actually save it, leave the game running overnight, and find out what happens in the morning, which will be very interesting because this episode has to go up tomorrow morning, and it is currently 1 a.m. So we'll see when I get up whether everyone's still alive or not. It will be an interesting test. So for you, it's going to be a few seconds. For me, it's going to be a few hours. We shall see whether our reservoir, even though it's only connected to these mills here, can actually do what's required of it. So hopefully I will see you soon with our beavers still intact. Okay, it's been several hours, 9 hours since. It's been 9 hours since I last recorded, but it's the next day. It's the next day. Look, I did some other things as well before I decided to go to bed and leave the game running. I built the rest of the windmills in here, so they are all placed in and connected and running and doing the things. I had hopes that the mechanical pumps would be built. I did break the power line so they would be built and not run, so they wouldn't overflow and do anything bad here, but they haven't, and they haven't because we haven't got any treated planks, and that was a problem. I came back, I turned everything back on again, and I had a look at it, and we were down to 61 bots, and we were down there because we didn't have any planks, or we didn't have any planks to keep the bots going. Planks were a problem because we were using so many of them all over the place. So yeah, I think we were building stuff over here as well, and it was becoming a bit of a problem. And the reason for that, the reason that stuff would drop down and change things and we had problems with that was the bots obviously dropped, and because the bots dropped, we didn't have any builders, which we still don't really have any builders. We didn't have any planks because of these here, but they have started to slowly come back now. The game's been running for a while here. I've actually been running it at a much higher speed than it was left overnight. I left it on double speed overnight, so it wouldn't go too far being unattended. Then I've been running it at higher speed now this morning. So, but yeah, I did put some bots back in here for about 5 minutes, and then realised that it's not the treated planks that were the problem; it was the planks that were the problem. So, but I haven't put bots in here. We've just left this. It's working. It's slowly building. It's slowly doing its thing. I did put some bots into the refineries because we ran out of fuel. No fuel at all when I came down, and we had no punch cards. So I think all the bots slowed down, and that had caused problems. But I don't actually think that's the case, because I had switched all the bots out of things. So like all these have been run by beavers, all the buildings here have been run by beavers, with the exception of these here. That I changed it all to be beaver run, so that all the bots could end up in these extra building huts things that I built. But the bots seem to go down. The food didn't drop, so we're alive. We're good. The population is fine. Just the bots have dropped down. Now they're starting to rebuild again because of the planks. It might be that they've just finished building all this when I came back this morning, and everything's kind of done now. And yeah, I'm not sure. I did have to also change this as well. I noticed that sometimes this was not just pumping enough water to keep our pumps going. So there was a big hole here, so I thought I'll remove the excavators and I will put in a pump pumping out of this big hole here instead, and that's just ticked us over absolutely fine. Done what I thought it would do. Beautiful. I can actually pause this one, and I think that one. Yep, that one as well. Boom, and get the bots going down there doing stuff, so they can mine out all this down here, which would be awesome for us. But this here is a running. It is a running. Look at this. Look, this was. I feel like this is going to flood. These are running at, actually they're running at 100% power now. Awesome. So these are going to flood. I feel like these actually no, maybe they won't. If they're running at 100% power, no, they won't flood. So this is awesome. This is fantastic. This works wonderful. However, there's something I need to point out, which is something I kind of thought everybody knew about mechanical pumps. Zuigi replied to a comment I mentioned last time. Obviously, what I've been trying to do is reply to the comments before I start recording, so that I can, when I talk through about the comments, I'm not reading them off the bat. I'm not doing it blind, because that just breaks everything. But pumps, mechanical pumps, don't use power if they've got nothing to do. So these ones over here, which are set to Badwater, I know this is new here. They use no power, zero power, so they're not draining the system at all. So all the power is instead going to these ones, which they're slow now because the windmills are slow. But that's always been like that, to my knowledge. I thought it was always like that. So, yeah. So the way this system's going to work is during a normal season, the pumps on the outside will be pumping away and putting water into the system. During a bad tide, these pumps will eventually come to a stop, and only these ones will be running. And then during a drought, once the area dries out completely, because it will pump all the water out of it, which it does do, it dries out completely fairly quickly actually, none of the pumps will be running. So the windmills will be charging our batteries. Because right now we have a demand of 7,700. And even with our water wheels down there running, we're only producing 4,700. So it's not enough. It's not enough to run this whole system full bore. So I'm going to be reliant on a lot of batteries sat down here doing the job. There was also a little suggestion of if we removed these, we could put batteries in there, I think. Let's find out. Hold on, let me get a battery. We can't put a battery in there. So we'd have to go down by one level to do it, which is kind of awkward. Yeah, it's too tall, so we can't get batteries in between there. You'd have to go down a level, put them on this height here, or in here, in order to get the power. So that's not. I was thinking about maybe we could remove the power lines and put batteries in between them, and have batteries, get more power in it. But it's not going to work because the windmills. It doesn't. Yeah, it won't do it. So we'd have to go down by one, which would involve somehow getting the power down another level. No, it just overly complicates things that I don't want to do right there. Instead, we're just going to build up a thing here and have batteries in here all the way up to like right up to here. So that's the plan. That's the battery plan. So yeah. So I'm hesitant to connect this up right now because it will just absolutely kill our batteries down here. Not work wonderfully. It is working well enough at the moment. Pumping the water out, it is working absolutely well enough. The other thing as well is that these will only ever fill up to the edge here. So if this river here, this one river, it won't flood over the edge because it will never fill up above one point. So some of these may not be working at full power because the river is completely full. Let's see, now they're running 82%, and the river is absolutely full. So I need to kind of see at what level. Maybe we should blow this all up one more. Maybe we should blow it all up down one more to get a double channel so that they can dump more water out. But so long as it's got enough water down here to keep everything running, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to run at 100% power. It can run at 10% power. So long as the water level here remains high enough to just be trickling out the end, that's fine. That's all we need. That's all we need. So that's not important. So that's fine. So. But there we have it. It is, I would say, 80% complete. And it works. It said I left the game unattended. I don't remember how many... Let me very quickly... very quickly play the other video in the background. We were on cycle 61. So we've gone through 5 cycles overnight. And I don't even know what them cycles were. So I know one of them was a drought because I saw it dry out completely. So, yeah. It works. It works. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. There is much rejoicing. So we shall leave it here, and we shall come back next time, and we will carry on from there. We'll let this mine out here, and then we'll figure out the river here. Awesome. Then we've just got to flatten the land down and redo the farms, and there can be happiness throughout the land. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this one. I hope to see you again in the next one. And until then, as always, have fun.